Thank you very much for the opportunity to present today. I appreciate you guys giving me the opportunity, even though I am remote. Um, can you guys see the presentation on there? Can I get a thumbs up if that's the case?
Yes,
Awesome.
we can.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate you guys giving me the opportunity to present. My name is Brian Hill. I founded an organization called Peace, which is a digital anonymous food bank about a year ago here in the Pacific Northwest. I went to school at UVU, and so I've got a lot of ties back to Utah. Spent several years there, but I appreciate the opportunity that I have to be able to come and meet with you as professionals to show you this which is so important to me. So specifically, I'm going to go ahead and put this into presentation mode so it looks nicer. Okay. Specifically, in my life, I've had a lot of circumstances where I've seen a lot of people who are dealing with a lot of shame, a lot of embarrassment, and a lot of difficulty in their lives as a result of either decisions they make or things that have happened. And it's been pretty hard. Specifically at home, my sister was recently diagnosed with end of life liver disease as a result of alcoholism that we were unaware of. She hid it, she kept it because she was afraid, she was scared. Scared of being found, scared of being treated differently, whatever the case is, she was afraid, and no one deserves to live in fear like that. Um, Peace is a solution that helps everyone with food insecurity. So in 2019, prior to COVID, we're looking at a lot of people who need help with food. This is food insecure households. These are people who are not going without food, but they're going without the understanding of where their next food meal is going to come from. They don't know where it's going to be. As you can see, it breaks down to a lot of different groups. Peace, though, takes these groups and converts it into a situation where there are people on this that aren't even asking. And they're not asking because they're afraid. They're concerned, they've got pride, whatever the case may be. They just aren't asking for help. And those are the people that we really want to focus on with peace. So it's very simple. We have the technology, we have the infrastructure in place in the world. We can do this the right way if we have the right solutions and we really focus. Essentially, the solution works like this. And I have an MVP up at peaceapp.org. It's PIECE, like a piece of a puzzle. What happens is people come and they make requests. They have a list of things that they need. They're a recipient. They say, hey, I need help with something. Can you help me? Once they create this list, it coordinates with a list of items that are available through, say, their local grocery store. And once they make the request, donors are then notified and said, hey, there's a person in your community that needs help with a gallon of milk. Can you help them? What's a gallon of milk to me? I'm sitting at my desk giving a presentation. Takes no time to press send or yes and make a donation. Once those items have been fulfilled, they're actually the local grocery store is the ones who actually receive the order, and then they fulfill the order as if you're any other person in the line. I specifically have a friend who has been on food stamps for about 2 years. And I had the conversation with her that was really poignant. I said, how do you feel when you use your food stamps? And the feeling she gave to me was kind of interesting. She said, I've had to stop caring because I used to stand in line and worry about the people behind me. How long is it going to take for them to get through? I'm sorry I'm taking too long. I don't mean to be more of a burden because I'm using food stamps. The people behind them don't want her to feel embarrassment, so they're like trying to be, understanding everything, but it just causes this sentiment that really, as far as I'm concerned, shouldn't exist. No one should have to feel that they are lesser or that they are not deserving of assistance when they're in need for help. So, how do we keep doing this? How do I keep doing this? So, a lot of what we're doing right now, because it's bootstrapped, is done through direct donations and payments, and these are coming from individuals that are strangers. It's coming from people who are other professionals as well. There's a lot of people out there who are doing similar things, like Meals on Wheels America, Feeding America. Perposity is that logo in the top left, but I need to put their name in there to make more sense. The difference between these, though, is that they really rely on people being recognized, as in, I did this good thing for this person, or got this good thing done for me, or it's a lot of self-promotion, self-aggrandization. The difference about how we do it is there's anonymity. People aren't being recognized for needing help. They're just getting the things they need. Let's see. And then I apologize. I wanted to make sure I didn't miss the message. The main part about this, though, that about how are we going to keep doing what we're doing is we actually make make the organization keep moving as a 501c3 through the direct donations, but also margin pricing on donations. Gallon of milk doesn't cost the same here as it costs in Hawaii, so to speak. So to be able to make sure we can, measure and we can accommodate all the different areas and different costs of living, we're trying to use margin pricing to make sure we can compensate. Also, corporate donations support. Those are things that are helping us to continue moving forward. And the final piece is algorithmic controls and retail partner intermediation. That sounds like the biggest legal jargon mouthful I've ever written in my life, which it is. But what I'm trying to say is that we've got controls set in place and plans to set in additional control pieces to assist people so this system can be as efficient as possible. When people don't come and pick up their items, they don't go disappear. There's not a loss. It just returns back into an inventory system, and no money is transacted. So it helps people move forward. So to give you an idea of how we've been doing, been around since 2020. March, done a very small spend on Facebook and gotten some good exposure to people. This is not necessarily people who've liked it or visited the site. This is really just impressions and reaching people. We've had 6 requests with 2 successful and 4 unsuccessful. Some people would say, why would you say 4 unsuccessful? Well, that's the whole collaboration with the retail vendor. They are the ones that are helping us do the actual fulfillment. When someone does not fulfill that, does not pick up their order, the money does not get transacted from the account. It goes back into the system and keeps going. We've had some local interviews and things like that in the Northwest, but that's great. Why am I doing this? Well, because it says down here at the bottom, this helps remove a lot of the shame and depression I've experienced when asking for help. Someone also said, once I'm back on my feet, I'll repay the favor through donations. That's the reason why this exists. It's so people can help one another. I know I'm probably really close to out of time because I didn't measure my time as well, but I briefly just wanted to say that this is such an important piece to me. I've got milestones, places you want to go. I've got money I'm looking to ask for. I want to make sure I can get to the position where I can talk to the next person that you might know that'd be interested in helping supporting a thing like this, because peace is too important to me personally to just let it fall the wayside. This is something that I feel can change and revolutionize the way that we do give to one another within the organization, within our communities, within the world. I think this is something that can help everyone. And I appreciate you guys giving me the opportunity to take the time. Take questions.
Real quick. Sorry to interrupt, but actually, if you'd like, you could finish. You could go ahead and finish your final time.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Thanks. I really appreciate that, Fonzie. So basically, just not to go back into this. So what we want to do is within the next 3 to 6 months, I want to build the app. We need to get the app built. We've got an MVP built, but it's a very manual process. I want to build the team, but not build just a team by hiring a bunch of people, build an actual team that's going to be able to sustain this organization. We're looking at doing full testing and release. We're going to do full rollouts to different organizations, different groups, combining partnerships with other groups that are going to see the growth in this. And we're going to try and obtain corporate as well as individual donations. Part of this whole system is, I need help, you can help. Let's let individuals help individuals, but also let's not eliminate the ability that other organizations have to help us move this forward and help more people. Like I said, this is me, Brian Hill. I've worked in a lot of different places. Something that you specifically mentioned, Fonzie, was Nike. I worked at Nike for about a year. If you want to talk about expensive things just because of a name, there's one place where you can go. I partner with an organization called RevRoad. RevRoad is a data security organization, kind of like unto Plaid, but for personal data. And the reason I partner with them is because their mission is to help individuals and organizations feel like their data and information is safe and protected. And the trust that I've created with the individuals that are involved with this is absolutely paramount. The transparency and trust is something that I absolutely need people to step forward and say, hey, I understand what you're doing. I understand where things are happening, and that's why I want to support what you're doing. And that's why combining with RevRoad was such an important partnership for us to do. So what am I asking for? I'm trying to raise $750,000 in 3 months, and I'm trying to build the app with $100,000 of it, $500,000 organizational growth, accountants, lawyers, things like that, technical services and equipment. But I specifically need $50,000 to make sure that we have money in the bank to be able to put groceries into the hands of families and individuals and children that need help. That's a big part of what I'm asking is, we're going to start with this and we're going to keep growing. But that's not the only way people have helped me, and that's not the only way people can help. I've received a lot of assistance from other organizations, individuals that are interested in helping this cause of eliminating food insecurity by providing services and tools and discounts on certain things. And those are all things that really help me. But more so than anything, the most important thing for me to do is to find out who would be the person that you or anyone you know that can feel the fire and feel the drive and feel the ability that we potentially have to be able to help those in need. And that's all I have for now. I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing, and we can go ahead and have some questions.
Thank you, Brian. I actually have a question. So while you were presenting, I was actually trying to find the website. Do you guys have a website yet, or is that still in the planning?
It's at peaceapp.org, PIECEAPE. So it's piece like a piece of a puzzle or a piece of something a little bit bigger. And my SEO is not great. I am not a web designer either, but I've done my best. And that's again one of those things that's kind of in the hopper. But I appreciate you bringing that up.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Something that I was wondering about is, sorry if this sounds a little, the thought process, I'm trying to have an
Shoot it from the hip, it's okay.
But from what I understand is the food banks, they already have the contacts, they already have a lot of the, money's able to go much farther than a lot of like grocery stores. Why don't you make the app more, make it easier for people to utilize food banks instead of going to a grocery store?
That's a great question. And the reason why I specifically went the direction I went is because the food banks themselves are not designed logistically to be able to do the fulfillment process the way that grocery stores do for a drive up and fulfillment. Like I drive up, I pull up to a spot that's predetermined, call a number, they put the groceries in my trunk. With a food bank, what happens is you usually have to go to a specialized location. It has a staff that is staffed to be able to assist. Sometimes you have to wait in line. A lot of it requires a lot of personal, physical movement, active activity, things that basically steps that keep people from asking for help because they have to go through all these steps. What ends up happening with Peace is that it actually eliminates the need to be involved with any other organization or group. You're really just interacting with the people within your community. You're basically saying, I have a need for a list of items. And the reason we use a grocery store is because I can actually see what is available. And with partnerships, I can see inventory levels and other things like that. And what I can do is determine what's available. And then once those are fulfilled, we're making the order directly to the grocery store because they've already got the system that's ready for fulfillment. What we do though is we cloak who we are. So even the person fulfilling the order has no idea who's getting the groceries. They have no idea that it's a gift. They have no idea that it's a donation. All they know is Susan Johnson has an order. She's going to drive up, pick it up. She's going to go home. And for all we know, she's just another person. And the other piece of it as well is there's no loss in revenue. If someone comes up, or not revenue, but the actual donated dollars, because it's important that we're good stewards of what we're given. When someone comes and makes an order, if say, God forbid something happens, they have to take their dog to the hospital, the groceries go back on the shelf. The money goes back in the bank account. It doesn't actually just disappear. It doesn't fall off. It's not something that's expendable. It's more of a sustaining cyclical process. Did that answer your question? You nod. I can see your head, or no, or shake your head.
Yeah, I can understand it. I was just so. Do these food banks, do they not have like the kind of inventory systems that grocery stores do?
They don't, because most of the inventory that they get is off of donations, and some of it shows up same day, some of it shows up day after. A lot of what they're doing is they're doing management of inventory processing immediately. Like they get stuff in, they're doing a processing, they're distributing it as soon as they possibly can. For these are goods that are really literally coming right off of the shelf of the store. The only difference is instead of paying the money to go to a food bank, to sit on a shelf, for someone to wait in line, for someone to hand it to them, they literally just go to the store and get it. And they just pick it up because they can have it. And also, we could utilize in the future the delivery services of a lot of these organizations. We'll have them delivered to people who are invalid or unable to leave their home.
I have a question for you. So this has a very specific, I mean, I guess, for lack of a better word, marketplace, right? It's very much aimed towards a very certain type of person, I guess. Um, but how are you, or what is your plan as of right now to get, the information about peace to those people?
So what we've found, I appreciate that question. One of the things I've done already is with the news report that I did, the actual interview that I did for Good Day Good Day Oregon. What ended up happening was, as soon as that information went out and that aired, I got an influx of people coming and visiting the site for both donations and both requests. I think a lot of the individuals, it's going to be a case of spreading the information along the appropriate channels. That is, utilizing governmental entities to be able to spread this, to partnering with organizations like, I'm not trying to get rid of food banks, but let's work together with them to try and reach the people who need it. It's kind of a hard thing because the market segment that I'm going after, I'm finding more as I'm going through the process, as opposed to just sitting there and exploding. For example, I had a person I was meeting with who does HR work, and she said to me, my dad, he's been riding couches, he's been doing these things. We've been buying him groceries and things and helping him. He wants help, but he doesn't want to ask for help. And then eventually he started getting, asking for some help. And she said, if I would have known this about immediately, he probably would have been one of those people who would have immediately been using it. It's those people who are just sitting here saying, I can pull myself up by my bootstraps, but really I need a little bit of help. And that's okay, because we all need a little help sometimes.
Hi, thank you so much for the presentation, and I think you really nailed the pain points that your target market is feeling, and I'm glad that your solution is able to provide them with a feeling that they have a normal life, and they don't have to worry about that sort of judgment and stuff. I was just wondering, in terms of the people donating, do they donate a specific amount of money, or do they like choose who they're buying groceries for? And have you already thought about that stuff?
Absolutely. Thank you for sharing that question. Also, your first comment, I really appreciate that. Really, I mean, the whole concept of this is to change the way people look at one another. When people realize that they're assisting people within their own communities, people will start looking at each other differently. As in, maybe that's the next person to help me, maybe I'm the next person to help them. So with this, it's a great question. For donors, there's a lot of different options that we've explored and things that we're going to be testing. One of the things that we specifically, though, enforce is that no one gets to choose who their money is going to or their donations are going to. The donations and money goes to people who are in need. The bottom line is people are in need, and we'll tell you where that money is going and how it's being utilized. Because a lot of things is people these days are going to different organizations and they choose this group because it supports this marginalized people or this other organization. For us, it's every single person is deserving of assistance, no matter what age, race, gender, constituency, social status, anything, none of that. Everyone deserves to be helped. So what happens is people can go, oh, I want to be notified every time someone needs a gallon of milk, because I remember growing up that milk was something that was scarce in my home. Or they can say, I just want to make a monthly donation or a weekly donation, or I want to make sure every time something comes up, I'm isolating this one thing. There's a lot more freedom to individuals to be able to help them, make them feel like their impact is a lot more direct and deliberate. It's going towards something someone specifically needs. And so there's a lot of exploration into that still, and I appreciate you bringing that up. But like I said, specifically, the judgment piece is you don't know who needs help. I don't know who needs help. As a matter of fact, we're working to make it so that within the organization, not even people who are looking at the computers know who needs help or who's giving the money. The right hand doesn't know what the left hand is doing, but the right hand's telling the left hand where they'd like it to go to people, and the left hand's telling them that it's going to those people and showing them how. And that's what we're planning to do through our website, is data and analytics to be able to help encourage and understand that their impact, no matter how small, is an impact, and it's a large one.
Yeah, quick question. I don't know if you mentioned this during your presentation, but are you guys a nonprofit organization?
So we are, and it's an interesting subject of conversation because I've been having this discussion 4 or 5 times. We are a non-for-profit. However, with the fact that there's value in the technology being designed, value in the data being generated from the organization, there's a lot of thoughts and discussions about how I plan to expand and grow and change and possibly open an arm that's for profit. But for right now, the most important piece for me is trying to get the app built, get the organization gaining momentum, moving forward in a way that's going to really gain some growth before start looking at trying to make things for profit. I just want to get people some help. That's all.
We thought about working with individual brands, kind of like coupons. So grocery stores they get the money, but they also get kind of like a coupon from certain brands because they want to support your cause.
Yeah, that's a great question. That's something that I haven't explored and something I'd really like to take a look at. And if you're interested, feel free to shoot me some more information on the website. You can send me an email on the email that's there. I'd love to talk more about that to kind of get a better idea as to what you're talking about, kind of weed it out. But I think I understand what you're talking about, and I do believe that these partnerships, whether large or small, are going to be important to the growth in the organization.
Brian, do you mind putting your contact information in the chat box, and then that way we can get it to anybody who wants to reach out to you afterward?
I would be more than happy to do that. I would. I really just want to take this, this last minute to just really just express how important it is to me that individuals are given the ability and the opportunity to get the help they need without any judgment, without any questioning, without anything. People deserve to get the assistance they need, and I know that through the techniques and skills and the resources, I know that this is something that we can do. We can change the way we address food insecurity. So I appreciate everyone's time. I appreciate you giving me the opportunity to present this morning. Thank you.
Actually, Brent, I have one last question
Go
for you.
for it.
Before I ask it, I'd just like to first off thank you for this incredible service that you're doing.
Thank you.
I've personally, I try to look for ways to serve other people, but do it anonymously. I don't care to get the recognition, and I think this is an incredible opportunity to do so. But I have one last question, and that is, as far as validation, what have you done to validate peace? For example, maybe something you could do. Have you ever talked to the U.S. Department of Agriculture or anything like that to kind of add their own stamp of approval or something like that? But what have you done as far as validation?
That's a great question. I appreciate that. So I've worked with a lot of different organizations, spoken with a lot of different individuals, both at the Clark County Food Bank and had individual interviews and experiences talking to people. Most of the validation that I've been able to do, as I say, it's kind of been on the move. I find more circumstances of individuals who are asking for I know of someone who would have totally used this service were it available kind of circumstances. Not a lot of people are stepping up and would be willing to say, yes, I am too proud to be able to ask for help, and this is something I would utilize. It's more of a situation of understanding, really trying to ascertain what's out there, what exists, and, base it off of what we've been doing with our MVP. I mean, we've sent out we've done very little marketing online with Facebook. We had the news article, and I wanted to also mention, once the news article reran back in December, my fiance and I were sitting on our bed, and all of a sudden I started getting donations in, and traffic spiked on the website. And I said, how did this happen? And she said, I don't know. And then I went around and started digging a little bit and looked, and I was like, well, the only thing I could really explain is they must have reran my interview as a B-roll somewhere in Oregon. So those types of things, I'm seeing that there's response. I'm seeing that there's behavior. I'm getting user stories from individuals to give them, their experiences, having these interviews and conversations. And that's the level of validation, but I do need to do a lot larger scale. Again, that's a lot of networking as well, interacting with legal individuals on a much larger national scale in other places. That there are people I need to get involved with.
All right. And I think you've already touched a little bit on it, but is there anything else that the 1 Million Cups community can do for you?
That is a great thing to ask. You know, I really honestly at this point in time, I would just encourage you guys to keep doing what you're doing and keep attending and keep being involved. I'm also involved with another group called the Midday Connect. And when I go to that meeting, some days I'm not feeling it, but every single time I go, I make a new connection or have a conversation that's beneficial to help me re-refine my idea and my thoughts. Honestly, my only ask is if you have the desire to help, if you know of someone that you know that would just light up, I'm very much working towards getting a partner and or a co-founder to try and do some more expansive work. Someone who has more experience in the non-profit realm, potentially e-commerce, just someone who's a little more involved. Other than that, really, we're just trying to find opportunities to raise money or get in front of people who would be able to get me places to raise money. Other than that, your support and everything is just so encouraging. Really appreciate everything you guys are doing.